Welcome. And the question today from Heavy Flute 4 is, what is the single biggest pickle move in all of history? Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his llama pen, so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Oh boy, let's get ready for some drama. 7,113 have answered with the original white elephant gifting from the King of Siam. This person would give this royal gift to people he found irritating, and be entertained by the recipient's failing efforts to upkeep such an animal. Why don't they just give it away, you ask? Back in the day, receiving a gift and giving it away was perceived as an insult. Go figure. And giving away a gift from a neighboring kingdom is, well, that much bigger of an insult. So no dice. Economies apparently have failed in order to upkeep a royal gift like this. Honestly, pickle move King of Siam. Edit, I'm seeing some comments about giving away the elephant, killing it, or letting it die, so I'm going to clarify something. If you are given a gift, out of respect you take care of that gift, because failing to do so would be taken as an insult from the gifting party. The King of Siam knew this and, for his pleasure, gave his opposing neighbors this annoyance of an animal, an ultimatum. Either fulfill the upkeep of this economy-sucking, worthless elephant, or I come invade your kingdom and slaughter you, and your people. Being as powerful as he seemed to be, he probably sent delegations to these provinces to ensure the elephant was still around for years to come. Keep that elephant alive. Scumbag friends followed up with, for those who don't know, a white elephant is rare and sacred. They were never used for work or war, and were just comfortably maintained for their lifetimes at huge expense. Mordanzabel answered with, Thomas Midgley invented Freon and putting lead into gasoline. He knew that putting lead into gasoline was a pickle move, and he did it anyway for money. He knew because he got lead poisoning himself and still lied about its effects on people. Environmental historians have said that lead has had the single largest impact on the Earth's atmosphere of any single organism in the history of the planet. Not to mention that lead levels directly correspond to lower cognitive abilities in the general population, and you can look up the dates to know who would have been affected. Medium Rar 14 followed up with, this also has to be a story of poetic justice. He had also invented a system of levers and pulleys to help him move around in bed after he became bedridden, and his own invention strangled him in his sleep. Def Nota Area 51 guard chimed in with, the guy was the master of inventing things that harm you when they're not supposed to. Renaissance Slacker chimed in with, this. Apparently the crime wave of the 70s-80s corresponds exactly to environmental lead. People exposed as children had greater odds of learning and behavioral problems, that made them less likely to hold steady jobs, and more likely to resort to crimes. Amazing detective story. It started with the scientist who discovered radioactive dating, but found that all his samples were somehow contaminated with lead. Otis Rath answered with, I always thought the Fed putting Andrew Jackson on the $20 felt like a big FU, since he hated the idea of a centralized bank. Cooper Hawk 11 followed up with, honestly I never thought about that until now, but that's hilarious and why we should keep Jackson on the $20 bill. Otis Rath responded with, what's even funnier is they were going to replace him with Harriet Tubman, but Trump has decided that Jackson is one of his favorite presidents, so the whole thing got put on hold. I can almost guarantee Trump has no idea about Jackson's feelings about the Fed. Vaishu All-in-One answered with, when the Mexican government rounded up thousands of Yaqui natives, made them walk over 300 kilometers to the coast, put them on boats, and sold them as slaves for about 25 cents. Most ended up on plantations in Veracruz where they were worked to death. Slavery was already illegal in Mexico at the time. Shank answered with, opium wars were pretty picklish. You don't want to buy hard drugs from us and turn your population into useless addicts. Fine, we'll invade you and bombard your cities until you start buying. HG 1998 followed up with, as this legend said, the British were furious that the Chinese could tell the British what to do in China. Aussie Nerd answered with, that woman scorned who killed F and everybody. Hang about, I'll Google it. Saint Olga of Kiev, her husband, the prince, was tortured and murdered by dissidents. Drevlian. She got vengeance by buried alive the first messengers. Burnt, boiled alive the second set of messengers. Had a funeral feast for her late husband which included Drevlians. And then had 5,000 of them killed. After a year-long siege, Olga said, "Give me 3 pigeons, and 3 sparrows from each house." The Drevlians rejoiced at the prospect of the siege ending for so small a price, and did as she asked. Olga then instructed her army to attach a piece of sulfur bound with small pieces of cloth to each bird. At nightfall, Olga told her soldiers to set the pieces aflame and release the birds. They returned to their nests within the city, which subsequently set the city ablaze. There was not a house that was not consumed, and it was impossible to extinguish the flames, because all the houses caught fire at once. As the people fled the burning city, Olga ordered her soldiers to catch them, killing some of them and giving the others as slaves to her followers. She left the remnant to pay tribute. It's a fine line between total pickle move and bad butt on this one. Edit, wow, this blew up. Went to sleep and 22k upvotes later. I read through every direct reply and about 50% said pickle move and 50% said bad butt. A whole slab wants the Netflix show, Game of Thrones spin-off. Many pointed out it's possibly not true. And finally, this tattoo that you parasidium is on topic and totally sweet. Fo if hefo I Jenny Oviao followed up with. You forgot the reason she did this. A neighboring king killed her husband and ordered her to marry him and give her kingdom over. She didn't take it kindly. Soft Pretzel Sandros chimed in with. And even better, all those people she killed at the feast. They were all young noblemen. She told them she was going to give up and agreed to marry as long as she got to pick him. So the enemy country sent a bunch of their young, rich, noblemen and she killed them all. That's kind of a huge deal because she basically just wiped out a generation of upcoming men in an extremely patriarchal government. FPL Quixote chimed in with. Horribly cruel, but that bird move is actually genius. Always enjoy a creative way to end a siege. The Odonkulus chimed in with. Who needs dragons when you have birds and sulfur? Izokaz answered with. Well, not really relevant, but when 50 Cent bought the first 4 rows of a Ja Rule concert. And Ja had to perform in front of 4 empty rows. Lol. Darth Trump followed up with. Or when 50 Cent bet Floyd Mayweather to read a page of a Harry Potter book and exposed Floyd's illiteracy to everyone. Ronald Dorsey chimed in with. Floyd's response was hilarious though. Bet 50 a large sum if 50 could give him a recent photo of 50 hugging Marquise. Onion Mesh answered with. Those mother effers evolving to suck mammal blood and now we got to worry about mosquitoes, leeches, ticks, etc. Demon 9 followed with. If you didn't want parasites eating your blood, why did you keep all your nutrients in it? Silly mammals. Donut Gamer 2 chimed in with. Just inject your blood flow with rat poison, that'll show those dumb mosquitoes. Diablo Camouflage answered with. Your pet leaving your room after you carried them in. Phoenix 117 followed up with. Your pet moving away from you after you sit close to them. Was D1000101 chimed in with. My dog doesn't like me. I don't know why. I'm nice to him, I give him food, I call him a good boy, but in the almost 5 years that he's been in my family, he's come into my room of his own volition like 6 times. One of which was to take a poop on my carpet. Mock Reverb chimed in with. When you enthusiastically say, come here, sweetie, and they turn around and walk off. They get credit for the combo kill when they do it in front of other people. Stockwolf answered with. Ray Kroc stealing McDonald's out from under the brothers and not even paying them royalties. I am Unabitakan followed up with. Dude. I watched The Founder on Netflix and it's straight up cruel how he just took everything from the brothers, divorced his wife and took another guy's wife, and then proceeded to be an a-hole while expanding the business and getting filthy rich. It was shocking how little he seemed to care about the consequences of his actions so long as he was making money. Burn Baby Burn 11 chimed in with, "Read the real story. There are important differences between the movie and reality. They wanted to paint Croc in a bad light. Not saying he was a saint. Just saying the real value of McDonald's was the scale, and the brothers tried to franchise and failed and couldn't scale the business. There was no handshake agreement as shown in the movie. That was a total fabrication." PME House Music chimed in with, "You definitely dodged a bullet. 100% chance she cheats on her husband in the future." Nunt answered with, "Trojan horse." Assad is followed up with, "That was a big pickle move. But I think Op is asking about big pickle moves." Chuck Stark chimed in with, "It was a bit of both. You know, when an entire city takes a massive horse as a present, only to be slaughtered and ruled over by guys inside the horse, pretty pickle move." And finally, Presence Advanced chimed in with, "It also depends on how anatomically correct the horse was. There may have been a giant woody full of sweaty Greeks." Oh. Okay. Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.